For me, when I want to learn a language, it usually is because I already know a person who speaks that language and I ask them to teach me. Hey guys, it's been like forever since I've done a video, and I'm so excited to be doing videos again. I think it's been like 4 months since my last video. So it's been a while, but it's because I've been busy with things, but also I've been trying to figure out how to produce better content. So I've been learning a lot also. So hopefully you guys will benefit from my education. But this video is going to be about how to be an effortless language learner. I hear a lot of people say, like I said in my last video, I wish I could learn another language. Well, one of the things that people say a lot is that they don't have the time, that they think it's going to take a bunch of time, but I'm just here to tell you that that is simply not true. Anyone can learn a second language and even go to an advanced level, and it does not have to take up your entire day to do it. It's just about the approach. So before you start, you have to think through how you're going to do it. So I'm going to give you some tips today on how you can learn effortlessly. And if you want to go to a very advanced level, you can still use these same tactics. The number one thing that you want to do before you even start to learn a language is to look around where you live, or your friends or your family. Do you know anyone who speaks a second language? Do you know anyone who English is their second language? Maybe you might be interested in learning his or her native language. So the reason why I say this is, if it's not already obvious, is because it will be so much easier for you to get practice in every day if you learn a language that is spoken in your community as a second language, or as you have a community of immigrants living nearby, or there are people in your family who are from other countries and you can learn the language of that person. It will be so much easier for you to do that because then you can practice. I think this is the most important thing for me. When I want to learn a language, it usually is because I already know a person who speaks that language and I ask them to teach me. Number 2, you want to go the non-traditional route. So the traditional route for learning a language would be to go to a bookstore or Amazon or whatever and buy all the language materials you can possibly buy, using books, maybe like Teach Me, some kind of audio programs or whatever, grammar book. A non-traditional route that I would recommend is to talk to people and ask them how to say things. This is why you need to know the person first. So one of the things that I have done over the years in my language learning is that I just start off with simple phrases that I want to know. So usually it's like, hi, how are you? Things like that. Maybe names of different foods, how to say I'm hungry. But it doesn't have to be that. It can be anything that you feel like you would love to say in that language. It can be something that's very interesting that maybe someone who is a native speaker would never think to teach you, but you would like to know. Just make it interesting and fun for yourself. And also what you want to do is get a nice notebook. Don't buy a dictionary. Don't buy any grammar books. Don't buy any books at this point. No phrase books, nothing. Don't even get a dictionary. Yes, I said it. Don't get a dictionary. Don't get a dictionary. Just get a nice notebook. Get some really nice pens because you don't want your pens to fail on you. Write down everything that they teach you. And when you write it down, you want to write it down in the way that you hear it. So you're not going to write down the script or the alphabet or the way it is actually spelled in that language. You are going to write down the way it sounds to you. You know, your own phonetics. You don't have to use the International Phonetic Alphabet. You don't have to know it to write down the way that it sounds to you. Use your knowledge of the English alphabet to write down the sounds that you hear. Do you like to sing? I love to sing. So this one is a lot of fun for me. Even if you don't have a good singing voice, who cares? I think back to when I was a kid and I would see people in other countries that are not English-speaking countries on TV screaming Michael Jackson songs. They did not speak English, but they knew the lyrics to the songs. How did they learn the lyrics to the songs? Well, they listened and listened and listened and listened and listened over and over and over. This is probably what's happening now with BTS. Lots of people know BTS songs and they don't speak Korean. So you can learn songs in the language that you are studying. If it's Korean, all the better. Especially pop music, I think is great because it has those elements and those themes that are universal. It has the beat, it has the dancing, the aesthetics, all of that stuff that people love is kind of universal with pop music. So it's very attractive and it's easy to relate to. So listen to the songs over and over and over and over again until you learn the melody, and then go back and try to learn the lyrics. And do the same thing that you did with your friend, writing the things down the way that they sound. So you don't want to write down the actual lyrics at this point. You don't need to know how to read in the language. You just want to write down the way that it sounds. And you will feel so good about yourself when you finally can like sing a whole verse in that language. You want to keep your relationship going with native speakers. Keep asking them for phrases. Keep writing things down. And if you like using Anki, I like to use Anki for transferring my things from my notebook or phrases that I really don't want to forget. Add them to your Anki deck. Anki. I don't know. I like saying Anki. I hear a lot of people say Anki. I don't know what it is. Add them to your deck, and then you can learn them. You can practice these phrases all the time until they become like second nature. And even if you want to write down some phrases from the songs, you can also do that. Do you like watching movies? Well, if you have some movies that you like or some series that you like, watch them without the subtitles. Don't try to watch series that are in English that are dubbed into other languages. I mean series that are actually in that target language. Watch without subtitles, not with the English subtitles, and listen closely. So what you want to do is just listen the same way that you did with the songs. So listen very closely and try to hear the different sounds. You're not looking for phrases, you're not looking for words. The same that you did with the songs, write down what you hear in your own phonetics. And don't worry if it's correct or not, it's just for you. Try to get through a scene doing this, writing everything down, and then read it back to yourself and record yourself. And repeat it as many times as you can until you start to remember it. Then listen to the original and compare it to your version. Do this over and over and over again. And your native friends will love it when they hear you reciting movie lines. You've probably noticed by now that I have not mentioned reading. I didn't mention reading because reading may not be as straightforward as speaking. Some languages have a written form that is separate from the spoken form. Also, the pronunciation may not be as straightforward. They may not use Roman characters, so you'll have to learn a script. But if after a few months of learning phrases and dancing and singing your way to fluency, then you can decide if you want to learn to read. And I know this sounds backwards, but it really isn't. The idea behind this is that you want to get totally comfortable speaking. And by this time, if you've been doing the other steps, if you've been getting phrases from the native speaker, if you've been listening to music, if you've been writing everything down and reciting it and checking, then your pronunciation will be superb by this point, and this is going to aid in your reading. Now you can get your native friends to teach you the sounds of the vowels and the consonants of the writing system, and you can put these in a separate Anki deck and drill them until you get them. And if there are any other rules, strange rules that are not in English, such as changes to letters and depending on where they are in the word, I'm looking at you, Arabic. Then you want to make sure that you show the examples in your Anki deck or in your notebook. Write down these variations. Don't leave them to trying to remember, and you'll have everything all convoluted in your head. So once you get the writing system down and you can read comfortably, change the language on your phone. I did this with Spanish, and it was the best thing that I could do for my progress. Because I had an Android phone and I was using Chrome, then most of the websites that I would visit were in Spanish, ads were in Spanish, everything pretty much was in Spanish. But you can learn a second, a third, or even a fourth language, and it doesn't have to be some big, huge thing that you just keep pushing off into the distant future. Just look at your lifestyle. Look at the connections that you already have with your friends and your family. Look at the people in the community, the people that you see on a daily basis, or people at work, and think about how you can expand that exposure that you have to the language. Instead of trying to make it fit into your life, find something that is already there that maybe you have not been paying a lot of attention to. Is there a friend that you have that kind of speaks Spanglish? Well, ask them to teach you Spanish. Do you have a family member who speaks French? Maybe they used to live in a foreign country. Have them teach you that language. Ask them. You can learn a language really a phrase at a time. Basically, that's it. So thank you guys for watching, and I want to give a shout out to all of my new subscribers. It's been 4 months since I've uploaded a video, and I think in that 4 months I have received 30 new subscribers. Thank you guys so much. Some people think those are not large numbers, but every one of you matter to me, and I really appreciate your comments and the encouragement that you give me. I love putting things out there and content to inspire people to learn languages. So you can check my links in the bio. I have a Facebook group now, and I want to start doing some challenges and interesting things for people who really want to take their language learning to the next level and try to expand their world a little bit with that language. So you can follow me on Facebook, also on Instagram, and I'll see you guys next time. Happy language learning.